What I first want to discuss briefly is conceptualizing attacking your opponent either from the waist down or from the waist up, depending upon what's being presented to you. For example, if Colby's in a wrestling stance here and he's more relatively upright, in all probability his legs are going to be more open to attack. Therefore I'm going to be attacking his legs. Because his head is higher up, it's going to be much more difficult for me to attack the head. Conversely, if I'm having a heck of a time attacking Colby's legs, and that's because his stance is relatively low now, his head is going to be in a more favorable position for me to attack. And so I think about when I'm wrestling with my opponents what their level is and what's, relatively speaking, more open. More the legs or more the upper body and the head. Okay, now, the fundamental way or the root way we're going to go about attacking the head. And that's going to be from a head pop. Of course, if Colby is relatively low here and I'm sloppy about approaching him, I'm going to get attacked. So it's crucial that I have a good stance, of course, coming in as I approach Colby. Also that I have one hand down here ready in case he does attack to block. But this hand down here is also important for me to catch Colby when I attack the head, and I'll show you how. As I approach Colby, I notice he's very low, and it'd be difficult for me to get low enough with my hips and low enough under his body to attack his legs. But I notice that his head now is in good position for me to pop it down. I'm going to pop his head with my hand. I'm going to guide that head in a ballistic movement towards this forearm, and I'm going to catch him because I certainly wouldn't want to pull him into me and attack or allow him to attack me. So as I'm in this position, as I pop, I'm going to thrust my arm slightly forward to this position. I'm going to block him in case he does try to come into me as I'm raking his head down. The next thing to be aware of is my forearm. As I pop him down, my forearm isn't up so that he has a clear shot into me. My forearm is going to be down, also blocking, so the arm that I'm attacking his head will be at an angle such that he's going to go into it, as opposed to an angle up here that he can go underneath and continue to attack me. So I'm going to pop to this position here. I want you to notice my bottom hand is on his chin, my top hand is around the back of his neck, and I also want you to notice my arms such that my forearms are on the side of his neck. I'm going to make a very small hole here, smaller than his head, that he can't pull it out of this hole. As long as I keep the hole small, the hole is bigger than his head, no problem for him to back out. But as long as I keep that hole small, I'm in pretty good shape in terms of not allowing him to be able to pull his head out. Also important, I don't want his head to drift too far to one side or the other where I've got to worry about him ducking under one side. I keep that hole or keep that head right here in my chest. Not too far to the side, else I risk getting a duck under. Keep it right here. So I pop to this position here. I'm going to hold on to this tight. And one thing I want to emphasize is that this part with my hands I don't think is quite as important as this part with my forearms. I really squeeze in tight because I don't want much lateral movement. The hand on the chin and the hand on the head help kind of guide him where I want to go. But most of my force is with my forearms. I pop down to this position here. And I'm going to pinch the side of his neck. I'm really going to pinch in to control that very, very tight. Notice, and as we had talked about previously on the defensive series that I went over, my goal is to keep his head down and in a position where my body is on top of his head. I'm in this position right here. If he tries to shoot in on me, shoot in, okay, I can just keep pushing my chest into his head. My goal is to control his head with this grip, put pressure down on the back of his head with my chest. That's a very unfavorable position for him to attack into me. If he attacks into me with his head down like that, it's unlikely that he's going to finish. one more important thing with this root position that we're going over now, and that is you've got to be chintzy with your elbows. By that I mean, when I'm holding on to Colby in this position, and we'll talk more about that when I'm holding on either here or in this type of a position, when we get to that point. When I'm holding on here to the head, I don't want to keep my elbows down where he can grab them effectively and then in a position to be able to manipulate me, perhaps to get out and then to reattack. I keep my elbows very shallow, so to speak, and up towards the side of my body like this, so that it's pretty much out of range, or at least out of comfortable range, for him to grab and control. So when I have this position here, I want to keep my elbows in as deep as I can this way, and I don't want to keep them down here where Colby can get control. So I'm really chintzy here. I keep them against my body, fairly high, and not let them I don't get lazy, let them go down low where Colby can grab them and get some purchase on me and probably be able to get out of that position. Now, the root movement or tactic I'm going to use once I have the head is to pull him down to the mat. I think that's about the most efficient. And all I'm going to do in that situation is, as I block, and again, see my hand is out here so that I block, as opposed to pulling him into me where I'm going to become attacked and probably lose the takedown. I'm going to block. Now from here, I'm going to tend to push in and then down. Notice the angle down I pull him is diagonal. I'm not going to try to pull him straight down. I'm going to push in a little bit. What's that likely to do? Likely to get at least somewhat of a reaction back. And as he's pushing back, and he's going to be pushing more laterally to the mat, I'm going to take that lateral movement and bring it down at an angle. So, to push in and then to pull down. Naturally, I don't want to pull him into my legs. I'm going to be giving ground a little bit and keeping my legs back. So I secure the head. Here, I push in, and I come down. Notice where Colby is. His weight is on his hands. His butt is high, his head is low. Again, this is fairly good position from my perspective, as we talked about over the course of the defensive series, in preparation for me, for example, to spin behind. An alternative grip that I learned not too long ago that I think has some utility, at least in certain positions, is to grab the jawbone. And that is, after I've popped here, if I have trouble getting control of Colby's chin, I can grab his jawbone. Right here. And you'll notice the jawbone kind of comes up here, and the mandible comes up. And so I'm going to grab here, and I have almost like a little hook here. I'm going to keep my palm down to his cheek here. And from here I'm tight, and I can do pretty much the same type of tug. That's a very uncomfortable position for Colby. And so I think that's an option as well. Generally speaking, I prefer to have a really secure grip. But if there's some hand fighting going on or some difficulty getting to the chin and you don't have time to secure it good, if you can just grab the jawbone here, right at its angle, tug down, I think you'll be successful with that type of a tactic as well. So I'm going to pop, I block, I grab to here. Again, I want to keep my elbows in because I don't want Colby shooting. If Colby attacks me, attack Colby. I have something to block against. I first push in, and I pull him down from there. Again, his weight is forward, his head is down, his hips are up, he's in an unfavorable position. I just demonstrated getting that head position in a situation where I'm actually being offensive and I'm attacking. Alternatively, you can get the same head position when your opponent attacks you. Again, we're in good stance here, elbows are in, one hand is down. If somebody, for example, if Colby attacks a single leg on my left leg, which is leading, I'm going to block, kind of just like I blocked a moment ago when I pulled my opponent's head, or pulled Colby's head into my arm. Instead, as he attacks and I sprawl back and lower my hip, my hand comes out or my arm comes out. At the same time, I'm going to guide his head into that same position, and I'm going to get the head again and control the head and snap him down to the mat. So I'm in position here, he comes in, I block, I get position, and I pull him down from here. So this situation is such that I'm responding to Colby's attack. I block, notice where my body is and my hands are, and I pull down. I block, push into him. His momentum is coming into me. If he's shooting well, it's going to be coming fairly laterally. In other words, not in a descending type position. But I'm going to change it and change the angle so that I guide him down at an angle. Okay, I guide him down diagonally to the ground.